When was the moment you realized you didn't love yourself? This is something that so many people struggle with every day. Loving yourself, the love you get from loving yourself is completely different from the love other people give you. I want to make awareness to this. I've got a couple of my friends, and we're all just going to tell our stories. We're just going to go through, we're just going to rewind everything, go back to the moment we realized we didn't love ourselves. Give somebody hope, make them understand that loving yourself comes within and it's not externally.
You're not a bad person for saying no to someone asking for help if you are not in the correct headspace to provide that help.
I struggled for, God, I struggled up until I was about 30 years old. I built all sorts of negative thoughts in my head. It was all kind of due to as well my sexuality. You know, I knew I was gay from about 12 years old. I was using my imagination in the wrong ways, exactly what I was doing. And I think for a lot of us, we don't even realize that we have imagination. Like, it's one of the most powerful tools that we have. And for me, I was using it against me. I was building up all these images in my head that there was something wrong with me. We're all the same. We all have the very same mental faculties. And I believe that we can all change. If, you know, I know there's a lot of people struggling out there with the same self-image, but it's totally up to them to change it. I mean, I don't want to sound sort of rude or anything, but it is. We're our own worst enemy. You're actually living in a prison of your own doing. You don't even realize you're in that prison. That's a prison in your mind. You're using your imagination to just basically feed all these images of negative thoughts into your subconscious mind. As long as you're doing that over a period of time with the repetition, they're just going to be left as habits.
I thought it was a really interesting question. Honestly, because I think we don't often look at ourselves in this specific moment we are and think, do I really truly like love myself right now, or don't I? I think I did notice that I didn't really particularly like myself in high school and as like a child, I guess. But I also think that I didn't really understand what it meant to love myself. Also, I think it's a really hard time to figure stuff out, like who are you, what's your sexuality, what's your gender identity. Sometimes you don't realize that you need to take a moment to focus on you and on your self-love and self-care. And yeah, I think my main time when I didn't really love myself and realize it was also in my teens, my late teens, but more so now, 10 years later, looking back on it, that I realized that, oh, I didn't really love myself.
For me, it was more like I didn't even know how to love myself. You know, you think you know how you're meant to be loved and all of this, but you don't really. I came to realize that I didn't love myself when I gave my life to Christ. Being surrounded by a lot of people, you know, like different companies and things like that, that it began to shape me in a way that it was, you know, making me lower myself, like lower my standards and everything. And yes, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial, you know, and this is something that I've grown to understand, and I'm still trying to understand. Finally came to confess and just be like, wow, I really don't love myself, you know, like for me to do all of these things to myself, it's like I really don't like myself. I come to realize that this is something that goes on all the time. Like it doesn't just switch off. Like I wake up one day and I'm just like, oh my, you know, I hate this. Oh my, look at my hair. I'm fat, and then when I think I'm fat, I try to lose weight, and then I'm skinny and I'm like, oh no, I need to put weight on again. That sort of thing. So it's just an ongoing thing. And for me, I learned to just kind of lean on like God for that, you know, and things just get a bit better.
I'm very much still on this journey. I kind of came to the realization that I did not love myself as much as I should. A real statement to the fact that I really didn't love myself was that I actually had to be prompted by friends to make that reflection. I was a big yes girl. I put everyone else ahead of me and my needs and requirements. I was a big shoulder for people to lean on, and that basically just wore away at me over years, where I was making sure everybody else was okay, but I was not looking after myself. When I say I'm still on this journey, I've been learning a lot about myself, especially in lockdown. About a year ago, I kind of took a break from life and realized that I needed to get myself in better mental health shape. But while I took the step back from people and from work and from doing all of these things, I thought that just having a rest would be enough. But I realized pretty quickly then that I was actually going to have to work at this. I was going to have to put in the time. Started meditating. The big thing for me really was realizing that everybody else around me saw it before I did. I'm coming through to a much better place now, and actively having a positive attitude towards things has been a huge help. So yeah, I think for me the big thing was when I realized that I put everybody else ahead of myself, and I didn't realize that I lost so much of myself in doing that. And I suppose the classic example, like, I give great advice, but I will never follow it myself.
For me, the first time that I realized that I didn't love myself, so this was during my teenage years. Growing up, especially being a teenager and having social media there's just so many different things that you see. So there was always times where I would try to be like somebody else. So it was always a thing where I would try to be something that I'm not, instead of just embracing who I am. And just different pressures. It got to a point where I just kind of broke down, and I really had to think and ask myself, what am I actually doing? Why do I try so hard to be somebody else when I'm supposed to be just me? So throughout my whole teenage years, it's honestly been a battle. It has not been easy, but then when I properly gave my life to Christ, that's when things started changing. And since then, up until now, I would say I'm still on that journey, but the only difference now is that I do love myself, but there are times in certain situations that I find myself that I don't love myself enough. So it's a thing where I try to love myself even more. Because when you love yourself, it gives you a value that even when people that don't even know you, when they see you, they see this certain value in you that they would not even try to mess about with you or try to take advantage of you. So for me, it's been it's been hard, but I'm still on that journey. But I'm glad to say that now I am in a better place. Like, I do love myself. I just try to love myself even more. Like, even now I've started doing affirmations. Every day I'll wake up, I'll look at all these positive things, just like so I can be okay. And even when we talk about self-love, like, it doesn't actually just have to be, how you carry yourself. Sometimes it can be as simple as just getting your hair done, as simple as just reading a book, as simple as just learning a new skill. It's literally just you investing in yourself, you being the best version of yourself. I'm just glad that I'm in a good place now. Like, it's been an interesting journey and I'm still going on it.
And from a very young age, although like you couldn't ever place the feelings or talk about the feelings because you'd always feel like it was just you in your own mind. I never put them feelings down to not loving myself until I start counting the behaviours that I was doing. The only person that can change your mental health issues is you. We all have addictions. Some people's addictions are to constantly put themselves down, doubt themselves, and they don't even realise it because subconsciously that's all they're used to thinking about themselves. Even though you might have thought you loved yourself, you don't really until you stop, look at your behaviours and make changes.
When I felt that I didn't love myself, it comes down to like secondary school, like in my teen years. When you come into secondary school, you meet all different people, different backgrounds, and then you're all growing up as well, so people want to do things a little different. I used to be surrounded by like very, very beautiful girls. Like their skin was so nice. They were just beautiful shapes, everything. Like, and I just used to look at them being like, oh, I wish I was like them. I wish I had a body like theirs. Growing up, like it was so hard. Like I remember sometimes people would like compliment me and be like, oh, you look lovely today. And you just be like, you know, you don't see it. Like I just didn't see it. Like I remember I would come home and I would stand in front of the mirror and I would just look at myself and just be like, what is it that people see? You know, like I don't see this beauty that they talk about. And it used to get very frustrating. I had like issue with my body shape as well. Like I just wanted to be skinnier. Like this is the thing with like social media. Like, you know, people, they have this like image, you know, I want to look like Beyonce, I want to look like Rihanna. So you go on diets, you do all this, you know, different makeup tutorials, you wash and you want to look like the person you admire. And I always felt like the need to do what the other person was doing. So I was always in the need to, like, as if I was in a competition with somebody, but I wasn't. Like it was a competition in my own mind, you know, like I was competing against people who are not competing with me. So, and I think it's very important, like as a parent, to be telling your children, you know, hey, you're beautiful, you look good today. I had a tough time believing that. When people told me you're pretty, I just couldn't see it. I had to look at the mirror. Like I could stand in the mirror for a whole hour and I just couldn't see that. And like, it took my mom, I remember her just being like, you're very beautiful. Like we were talking about so many things, but like, that's the only thing I could remember. And up until today, whenever I feel kind of beat down and I'm upset and I'm depressed and all that, I just kind of remember what she told me.
I think I've never loved myself, never understood. But the moment that I actually literally I stopped and I was like, you don't love yourself, what is wrong with you? Was on my birthday, 2019, when I caught my boyfriend cheating on me. I realized I didn't love myself after trying to beg my boyfriend who cheated on me, who I caught in the action of cheating on me, to take me back, which is just insane. At this point, is like, how does that even work? You know, like, how do you even get by doing that to yourself? Loving yourself, there's so much to it, you know, like there's so much to it, you know, it really starts from within. I'm still on that journey and I'm not even halfway there, but I'm happy that I was able to realize it. You know, I'm really happy I was able to realize it and just the switch. I'm happy for the switch.
Sometimes you don't realize that you need to take a moment to focus on you and on your self-love